And welcome back, everybody, to more GSA action. Right now, with a Super Mario Odyssey any percent league race between Chaospringle and LilKirbs14. This is a very interesting match because we are having the first and second spot on the 80% leaderboard right now, racing against each other. And I'm joined by Dangers for co-commentary. I'm excited.
Good day, LilKirbs. How's it going today?
Pretty good. My runs personally didn't go too well, but I hope these guys' runs will go even better. We might see a double world record. No, okay, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But both of them right now technically capable of either getting or improving the record. Kirbs' improvement has been pretty rapid again. And yeah, seeing those two race face against each other, obviously hot.
If there was any combination of runners to maybe claim the race world record at the same time, it probably would be these two. Now, an interesting matchup coming into this because, you got LilKirbs and he is on fire, playing the best maybe that he has ever, getting a very, very slick PB very recently and coming off of 2 league victories. But Chaospringle, on the other hand, while he does hold the world record in any percent still, uncontested there, he has already dropped his first 2 matches, showing a little bit of shakiness in this league format.
Slow start from Chaos to the league, also slow start from Chaos to the game. Seems like he maybe just restarted his game because it looks like he got the... Wait, what? Maybe not longer load? It looked like he was behind for a little bit there, but now he's ahead. I'm not sure what he did to make that happen.
LilKirbs actually fumbled coming out of that cutscene. Looks like he didn't get the spin buffer coming out of that, so had to reset a little bit. So evening these guys out as we go across the bridge here.
That makes sense for sure. But I agree. Chaos starting a little bit slow to this league, having 2 losses. Both of them, actually, I think he ended up missing Nut Clip, as far as I know. So it hasn't been too good for him so far in this league. That doesn't mean that he couldn't pull a great time off right now. But this is something to keep in mind. Anyways, though, it is definitely worth to say, once again, both of them right now capable of getting world record. I think Kirbs in his recent race actually was able to get a like 12:52 Bowser Moon time, which is actually world record, just a little bit better than what Chaos said before. So his late game seems to be on fire.
Yep, crazy stuff from LilKirbs lately, and definitely has potential to maybe snatch the world record from Chaos at one point or another. Right now, though, we do look to be having more or less a sync as we go into this first wire.
Oof, yep, pretty much capturing at the same time here. Wire starts at the same time. Might actually be a couple of frames only separating these two going into Cascade, if any at all. Actually, this is a nice instance of a potential frame-perfect sync we see as this fade-out happens here. Cap with some sloppiness for both of them, but as this fades out, yeah, this looked pretty much frame-perfect for the end of Cap.
Yeah, Chaos, that perfect button mashing sync there. Lovely.
I think Chaos actually might have skipped the first cutscene a tiny bit earlier. He's known to be pretty good at mashing. Actually, in the best theoretical timesheet, there's like a bunch of these mashing segments. But yeah, very beautiful sync. It looks like we might see a difference in first moon skips, though. Chaos is gonna get the wall jumpless version. Very nice live comparison to see how much that saves, but is gonna have to wall jump here, which loses him even more than that just saved.
Sometimes when you're learning FMS for the beginning, it actually is a little bit trickier to learn the triple jump strategies afterwards. You do have to kind of squeeze them in as best as you can. So Chaos showing just a little bit of trouble there. Had to take a wall jump in order to kind of save his momentum, and giving LilKirbs just a tiny bit of a lead here going into Madame Brutal.
Also, very interesting changes of pace here. We saw Chaos actually get into the fight a little bit earlier because he was able to skip the cap throw before the dive, going over to the boss fight platform. But then his initial capture seemed slower, so they're almost back synced again. Chaos with a slight lead right now, going to the next step of Madame Brutal. But this is as close as it gets for early
game. It's amazing that when you get to this level, that just these tiny little things, these 0.5 second time losses, throwing your cap an extra time, taking a wall jump instead of a regular jump, all of these things really do kind of make a difference when you compare them side by side like this.
Yeah, and there we go again. Kirbs actually unintentionally roll cancel jumping a little bit too far to the right. It's actually optimal to roll briefly into a roll cancel jump to get that moon. Kirbs not touching the multi-moon is going to have to reset or like back that up as far as that jump is concerned. So Chaos is going to build his lead a little bit, but this is pretty much in the range of a missed chest clip to get back from this.
and you just never know how that's going to turn out. Both of these guys probably going to go for the fast setup for this chest clip, which kind of involves opening the chest as you're approaching it rather than setting yourself up in any way.
Okay, no problems here for Chaos to get the moon on that cliff side, but if anything, obviously that chest clip might change his lead, but looks like he will be able to get that very nice height. Oh, never mind. Oh, what? Both of them ending up missing that. Both of them got such a good height from that up throw, but going for the fast chest clip, that's sometimes not all you need. Sometimes you also need to be at the correct position instead of just warping up high enough, because this ceiling actually consists of multiple ceilings. Sometimes you're not high enough to clip through all of them, or not in the right position.
Yes, and both getting jebaited in this situation. Your position needs to be kind of on the right side of the chest. Both of those guys look like their backflips were just a little bit too central, and therefore getting pushed back into bounds. And that's an unfortunate situation, but this race staying close as they both missed it, so you know, anything can really happen going into sand here.
Yep. It's hard to say. I feel like Kirbs might have a little bit of an edge in the early game, and maybe also in the late game. Chaos would probably usually have an edge in the mid game portion of the run when we look at stuff like I guess Snow these days, because he's even going for the Snow clip Seaside and also Luncheon, where he does some additional strategies that Kirbs might not opt to do so. I remember Kirbs at some points actually not going for the Flower Rocket refresh. I think that's something he has been adding now. I mean, his time is getting pretty ridiculous, 1:00:27. You gotta pretty much do everything you can pretty easily do, and when I'm saying easily, I mean pretty crazily, but you kind of want to do anything but the insane strats, like the quote-unquote non-RTA viable strats, even though they're obviously not RTA viable, they're just not being done right now.
Yeah, there's a handful of things that, you know, even the top runners are kind of eyeing at, looking at, thinking maybe this can go in the run. They just aren't being utilized just yet, probably out of comfort level, doing it in an RTA run where, you know, you might be 20-30 minutes in and then losing the run to the strat in a bunch of different ways. That's probably what these guys are kind of scared of moving forward, but we're almost approaching the point where that's kind of necessary.
Kirbs struggling here a little bit. I think that first grumble was almost at the right spot, not exactly there though, so he won't get the moon out of that, and Chaos is going to take a pretty solid lead from that little mistake, probably around 4 seconds even going into this moon. But with Dram coming up next, that might not be enough for him to still be at the end of sand. Obviously has to get that, and he is actually going to be going for Ice Dram, something that he's added relatively recently, one of the later persons, so it looks like Kirbs will still go for the original Dram.
That was a little bit sketchy on Chaos's part. Looked like the capture warp wasn't going to go off, but he did get it at the very last second there, so is going to be getting that minor time save from doing the ice variation.
Going across towards luggage, we are pretty much guaranteed to see 2 double clips in this specific matchup. Something that you cannot really skip out on as far as attempts for these guys are going. I'm not sure if anybody decides to do like a race adaptation and do single clip instead, but I feel like both of them should be rather consistent on double clip. Chaos getting the clip first try. Kirbs would as well. Decent points also.
It really does come down to this clip here. Utilizing the bird cycle means getting this clip as early as you possibly can. Chaos taking the first bonk here, and a miss on the second one. LilKirbs taking the lead as a result of that. Okay, 2 missed clip attempts will cause him to not lose the bird entirely. He might be slightly off as far as the position is concerned, but if he plays quick enough, he might still catch the bird kind of above the ground pound spot. Ooh, with that bonk though, we might have a little problem with the bird. That might already be enough to potentially catch him like as he's going for the second lap around the Oasis, which doesn't mean that he's gonna miss it, but need to speed up here a little bit. It is going to put him in an unoptimal position. You'll probably have to catch it as the bird is kind of coming around the backside, which in itself does waste quite a bit of time, unfortunately for Chaos.
Shakes the skip out of the way here. No big miss on that one. Chaos rolls over towards the cactus, but Kirbs already about to capture this one. Early game has been getting a little bit more sloppy. Funnily enough, this would probably already be enough to kill any world record attempts for these guys, but that won't matter in the long term here in this race. Kirbs' bird is looking to be in the Antarctica, pretty far away. For Chaos, though, the bird already passed the ground pound spot, so as you basically mentioned, he's gonna get them there on the backside. Ooh,
oh no.
Now he can't mess around. Chaos needs to get the bird right here, and he will, but that definitely lost him more time. The bird was about to leave there, by the way, so getting that up warp unintentionally on that moon. But yeah, very, very big time loss here in sand, caused through the clip and also that bird. Chaos, once again, not being really able to play on his usual level right now.
We're seeing a little bit of slip-ups on Chaos' part here. And again, we do hold Chaos to quite a high standard when it comes to these kinds of things. He is known for, you know, being able to blast through the early game better than just about anybody else. So I think that part of the consistency comes from knowing exactly what you need to do when the situation goes right. But when things go wrong, sometimes that's when you slip up the most, and it kind of compounds on itself, especially when things are on a cycle like this bird.
Kirbs still able to get a 10-15 fade out there. It's obviously pretty solid. For Chaos, we are probably looking more at something like a 30, not even, it's going to be like a 33 or something. 32 it looks like. So around 17 seconds behind here at the end of sand. More than you would initially think. But that bird causing him most of that time loss and having to go back to get him. Also not definitely the best notes we've seen. It's going to be quite rough on his time. I'm actually not sure if Kirbs is doing LilKirb these days. That's definitely something he could add if he gets if he has a 27 without Lake, but I think that run might have gotten it. Actually haven't completely watched that, so interesting to see here. Maybe a chance for Chaos to make up some time, but Kirbs will not get the vault there to go. Ooh, Goomba's also attacking him. He's getting bullied right now.
Yeah, getting bodied by the Goomba is going to have to take that health refill, giving Chaos just a little bit of time to catch up here. Now, it might be in LilKirb's best interest to go for the LilKirb if he is consistent and maybe confident in it.
Oh no,
Chaos also getting bullied by Goombas. Oh my goodness.
The Goombas are popping off. Oh, first try, I think. Oh no! That's
and he gets the ground pound through the water.
Clipping through, but getting the ground pound not being at the exact correct spot, and that might be enough for Chaos to get his lead back. I doubt it. I mean, it looks like he will get the clip first try. As long as he actually... Oh my god, what is happening? They're actually literally making the same mistakes.
I've never even seen that happen before. So
he just didn't hit
missing, maybe potentially getting some sort of value dive there in a situation where you definitely do not want to see it. Both of them are going to have to resort to the Rango route as a result of that.
It's quite interesting how they actually made the same mistakes here. I mean, Chaos at least got up to the higher ledge immediately, but both of them got hit by the Goombas, which is a very uncommon mistake. And both of them messing up that Lake clip. So Kirbs is still going to hold on to a pretty solid lead here at the end of Lake. And that's interesting because I think this is also kind of changing how we approach like these matchups, because the one person that has really been once again holding up to a high standard for races and getting consistent good times was Stravo so far. He really like holds true to his name. But it's interesting how suddenly, if Chaos was to lose this race, so suddenly someone who is a favorite would be more like, I mean, we would never like count Chaos out, but suddenly we might approach him as like someone that rather gets upset than gets upsets than getting upset, which is interesting.
Yeah, and I think it may be still too early to tell in the league. You know, there are a couple of matchups that Chaos is probably the more favorable pick coming up. He did have perhaps his hardest fights right at the beginning of this league. So, you know, anything is still possible for Chaos. Definitely do not want to count him out. And of course, in this race in particular, you do not want to count him out. Maybe less than 20 seconds still separates these guys here.
Yeah, we see exactly. It looks to be pretty much the same lead, maybe 17, 18 seconds here leaving Lake. I'd say 17, so pretty much nothing really changing as they leave Lake. With Wooded coming up, though, this is probably something to really focus our eyes on, because even though they have been making the exact same mistakes, Chaos recently in races some issues with not clips, so that's something he definitely wants to get. I know that both of them are pretty confident with going for a rock clip backup, which is definitely valuable in a situation like this, but you still just want to get that clip, not having to deal with that.
Yeah, luckily Chaos, maybe knowing that that is not going his way, has been practicing the rock clip by the looks of it, because he is executing the backup very solidly. But you do hate to see the nut clip miss anyways.
Curbs coming up the shop right now. Coins looking very healthy here. Curbs 116 after that shop, so he should be pretty much set for the rest of the run. Chaos with 199 should also not have any issues here. Both of them obviously getting some additional coins here from Rango. I'm actually not sure if they did pick them up, but this is something you can kind of like get on the way. But for now, nut clip is the next big thing. Won't really think about coins too much, because this is the first thing that actually does lose you time if you don't get it, and that quite a bit. Not really liking that position from Curbs. Looks pretty far away from the wall, but yeah, sometimes it's just hard to tell, man. The shadow does align with the wall sometimes, but you don't clip, and then sometimes only the foot clips, it looks like, and you still get it. Chaos, though, is going to make the adaptation. It's going to try to go for the Piranha skip route. Gets the uproot to capture there. Will also get the moon here, and he will actually be able to skip the Piranha story moon later on.
Yeah, and we have already seen some mishaps with this particular routing in this league already. You know, the hardest part and perhaps the most time-consuming part of this entire route is that if you miss it, if you mess up towards that Piranha Moon, you do not warp, or you do not warp anywhere close. You go back to the shop. So, very costly mistake to die anywhere on this route.
Chaos is going to be able to get that clip this time. Finally getting these demons out of his system here. This is something that could have potentially haunted him during this league season, but is able to get the clip this time, makes it through. And yeah, as you just mentioned, Curbs is about to hit the Piranha plant there. This is interesting because the strat is so new and so fresh. It's interesting that these runners decide to go for it in situations like this. It does save a nice small amount of time, but just because this is, you know, we've seen more misses on that one. I think in the future this will definitely obviously go down. People will get used to this. But since this is a fairly fresh strat, kind of like really getting popularized as the league started, it's obvious that we might see a couple mistakes there.
Yeah, and here's where we see the route divert. Chaos going right by that Piranha plant, not opting to kill him at all. Going to be grabbing this nut around in the dead end and then coming back. And this execution is going to be crucial, because no matter which way he does it, he is kind of risking. But, ooh, and he didn't get the jump there, so he's going to have to opt for some sort of backup.
Wait, what is this? A vault? What? Will he get enough height? Okay, he will.
Wow.
Very interesting backup for this one. Even going for a spin point on that rail. Pretty fancy. Pretty risky nonetheless. He was about to set up like a normal triple jump, which would have actually not worked, because you need some momentum in the triple jump to make it over there. But he is able to get a backup, probably not able to save time with that route adaptation just because he did miss that jump. But interesting adaptation. I like it. I like it.
And, you know, Commentators learning something. I didn't even know that that was a possible viable backup in a situation like that.
Kind of makes sense, because people have been messing around with like a dive vault on top of that railing. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it should be possible doing that, but doing this with like out of a spin pound is an interesting adaptation. Probably actually not the fastest one, because you have to like frog cappy, spin pound, roll. But hey, style points acquired, and he doesn't take the death there, which would have been massive.
Yep, proven that they do indeed matter in this league. We always value the style points.
For sure. And right now we are pretty much exactly one moon apart. The one that Curbs already got is obviously pretty far away from the nut around the corner, because you have to go through the loading zone and through that early section of pipeway. So he will basically be 2 moons at this point. But yeah, this pipeway takes about 26 seconds to complete. Curbs just warping out of their Chaos, getting in there. Should be around the lead that we're looking at, like 25. If Chaos plays this pipeway section well.
Yep, this dreaded pipeway section. Timing is crucial. If you mess up any portion of this pipeway, it does spell death for kind of the rest of it, and you do have to just kind of execute it very slowly. Chaos not showing any trouble there, though, and is on his way into the next kingdom, along with LilKirbs here, about 25 seconds behind.
Yeah. Fade out here, 1848. Definitely not anything these guys are used to as far as their top attempts would go. Chaos will not actually be able to get that sub 18 which is uncommon, but lead looking to be, yeah, pretty much around these like 25 seconds, just a little bit more there for Chaos. More like 30 actually at this point. No, actually 48 is what Curbs got, so pretty much 25.
But again, we have seen crazier things in these races in the league so far. And we are approaching perhaps Chaos's strongest part of the game, being the mid-game, starting in Lost, going into Luncheon. So LilKirbs here actually taking the first hit on Bowser by accident here, and going to have to chase him down for this phase. This might just change the
That happened in Curbs' last race. This happened in Curbs' last race. He got hit there quite a lot, and he got like an insane early game. I think he had like something ridiculous, like an 18-15. I think that's actually possible, and I think that's what he got. But I'm not exactly sure. Don't want to promise you guys, but I know that Cloud has not treated him too well recently.
Chaos, on the other hand, not having any issues with this Bowser fight so far.
Curbs will also get that last capture, so not as bad as apparently his last race went in Cloud. Still making some bigger mistakes here in this, and Chaos is going to be able to make back. Dude, and this happened in another race. I don't know how to phrase that correctly. He made back up some time. That just sounds wrong.
Yeah, he made some time back up.
Whatever. He's closer now than he was previously.
Yes.
Lost
I feel it's kind of a weird sentence. I feel like it's one of those ones that you could put the words in just about any order and it would be grammatically correct.
Yep. Yeah, 2044s where Lost appeared for Curbs, 53 for Chaos. So suddenly this lead is only 9 seconds between Chaos and Curbs, and that's actually goes to show how big Cloud mistakes can be. Curbs arguably losing close to 20 seconds on these 2 mistakes in the first phase of the fight. So definitely won't be happy about this one, and Chaos will be even more having a better chance, because obviously, I mean, it's not the best time to talk about this in Lost. Probably better to say that when they are done here, because anything can happen in Lost. But yeah, this league does not only reward winning, but also performance. So the better you do, the more points you get, even as a loser. We'll be actually explaining that a little more once we're out of here. But pretty much synced propeller moons, it's just a different propeller.
Yeah, very stylish stuff there. Not quite the sync on the second moon there, but you know, you can't quite be synced all the time, I suppose. But yeah, after that Cloud Kingdom, very easy to see that he has made up some time. And yeah, just on LilKirbs' tail now. And all it could take is just one mistake on any of these moons in Lost Kingdom to bring them back together.
Yeah, for sure. Chaos also have the Tropeedle in a good position there to hit the block. So yeah, this is very close right now. Curbs is about to do the triple jump here without Cappy. VK triple jump will get it. Will get the moon as well. We've seen Chaos recently struggle with this in a recent race, kind of going for a very dodgy backup. Let's see. He will get the jump right now. Curbs trying to go for the up throw dive. Wait, did he actually get it? I missed it.
I don't know. I didn't even notice it was too fast.
Lost is hot. Well, I'll be able to catch on the restream. This is, if he did that, that's actually a recent strat where you kind of up throw Cappy as you're about to grab that moon and then dive on top of the up throw to like get a better line and skip the wall jump as well.
Yep, some very fancy stuff. Minor optimizations coming from the BTT team. And LilKirbs is kind of becoming one of those runners that is on the forefront of adding some of these swaggier, faster optimizations in.
Yeah, I feel like it's always odd though, because even though he goes for stuff like this, I feel like he's usually actually more on the later side when it comes to adding route adaptations. We saw him not go for that tree strat. I know he was not doing nodes for the longest time because he wasn't quite sure how much time it would save him. It's an interesting mindset because sometimes these route changes are obviously a little bit easier than going for some of these hard strats.
Certainly, I guess it kind of comes from your approach to the game and how.
Perhaps actually did get the up throw. It's pretty. I was pretty hyped to see.
Oh, there you go.
I just saw it on the other screen. That's a really cool strat.
Yeah, it kind of comes down to your approach to the game and like what it means to you to kind of save time. If you do the new route and you think that is kind of the way that it is going to save you some time, then that's fine. But a lot of these kind of riskier players like LilKirbs and Equan specifically, they're the ones who are going to be using the same route and just doing it slightly better in order to save time.
Yeah, Chaos a little bit off there with this angle towards the goal. Oh, Curbs actually, as we say, going for pretty much all of the optimizations. I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure if he did that. Ooh, that was so good. That was so sexy. But definitely very nice from Curbs there with that up-close wall bounce there twice, actually making that work. I think so far, unless Curbs did this yesterday, Econ the only person to show this off, kind of outracing the elevator to get on top there.
Yeah, and it's certainly a risky strategy. Of course, if you mess up any of your movement along the lines of that beginning portion, then it does kind of throw everything else off balance. But LilKirbs showing that he is capable.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we go into Mecha Wiggler right now, I'm gonna briefly explain the point system. Because we have some downtime before the Wiggler reveals his RNG-dependent pattern that Curbs apparently knows how to slightly manipulate. He's been posting something on YouTube about this, so we might ask him after this race what his plan for this is. But yeah, you get 40 points for winning in this league, but there's an additional point pool, 20 points. You could basically say the winner of every race gets 41, and the loser gets 1 point. One of them being from the additional point pool, and then depending on how well you do, these 18 points get distributed to the winner slash loser. So for example, if you win by 3 or more minutes, if you crush your opponent, you will actually get additionally all of these 18 points, so we'll get 59, and the loser would only get 1. But if the loser does very well, and let's say he only loses by like 5 seconds, he will actually get the full pool out of that one, and he would be able to get 19 points, while the winner only, quote-unquote, gets 41. If you want to see exact values on that, you can type an !leagues and check out the table, and as we end this race, I will be able to give you guys a rundown there. Was actually, during that explanation, completely missing that Mecha Wiggler, but both of them reacted to this very well and got a pretty solid 2-cycle. But yeah, leagues points will be broken down again at the end of this.
And of course, all of these points going towards the build-up, the kind of coup de grace, or coup de grace, I suppose they say in French, being the pace event coming up your way in April. So these guys are all playing towards a tournament, the semifinals of the Super Mario Odyssey, the Division 1 Super Mario 64, and the Celeste tournaments. The semifinals and onwards will be broadcast to you live from this pace event coming up in April. That's something you don't want to miss.
I would absolutely agree. I will be there. Dangerous, will you be there?
Oh, I will be there.
Yep. Definitely can't wait for this one. Seeing these guys compete live with player camps and all of that stuff, I've been waiting. I mean, this is what we're working towards too, right? So this is obviously going to be pretty cool. Both of them with pretty solid scoot clips. Metro, I think it's actually a strong suit for both of them. Both of them have like kind of getting back and forth with getting the best time for this kingdom.
Yep, these guys definitely showing their prowess in this kingdom in particular. Chaos has always kind of had a natural ability for this kingdom, I think. LilKirbs is kind of just a jack of all trades. I don't think he's ever really been the guy to go to for any specific kingdom. Maybe Wooded comes to mind, but he does always seem to be competing against everybody else for their respective kingdoms.
Yep. But LilKirbs is still holding on to this lead. Nice first person, very quick there towards that drummer, which will give us a little fade out to be able to tell how much this lead difference has grown, because I feel like Curbs' difference has grown a little bit over the course of the recent events, just because of him also going for some better strats, something like that Boomba, like that City Hall strat, the up throw dive. But yeah, 54 is I think when Curbs left this City Hall, so we are probably looking at around 14 seconds here for Curbs as he's going towards that bassist. Fade out coming up briefly here, and then we will actually be able to give exact numbers. It's going to be a 25 pretty much exactly for Curbs, who's making his way over to the higher moons now up that city. It looks like Chaos would probably get like a 38 or something. 39 pretty much, you'd say. So pretty much looking at 14 seconds.
Yeah, very little distancing these guys from each other still. All it would really take is one kind of slip up on LilKirbs' part to bring this race back together.
Climbing up to dizzying heights here. Trying to get in a position where you are able to spin pound Curbs, going for that little rainbow strategy to get the guaranteed spin pound there, and he will go over to that moon. Probably something that Chaos is looking to do as well. Yep. Nice.
Yep. Curbs leading the charge here in Metro, takes a kind of unoptimal dive off the top of the building there, was able to buffer his jump and not take any kind of falling ground bonk, I like to call it, and able to just kind of continue through the kingdom. But Chaos coming out of that Cafe Moon just a little bit faster, a little bit more optimal, and going to be making just a little bit of time on Curbs here.
Very close there, next to the bin. Almost ended up actually bonking against it, which is not crucial, but it's definitely going to be losing you quite a bit of time. But Curbs will be very far away from any sub-30s here in Metro, which makes sense, because even though this portion of the run has been going well for him, with a like high 18 fadeout, that won't be enough for you to still get a sub-30. I mean, maybe if you play like God-like level, but definitely not right now. Coins, as we saw earlier, were pretty good from both of them, so I'm assuming we will see double snow entrances here, no seaside detours, and they should be absolutely good to go. However, Snow having Snowdrum attached to it at the very end, which probably at this point, if Curbs was to miss it, would give Chaos the lead back.
Certainly. And like we've been mentioning, Chaos is definitely gearing towards Snow a lot lately, really focusing his efforts on trying to make that kingdom as optimal as it possibly can be, going for things like the out-of-bounds movement, the moon clip. So we'll see if he pulls that out in this race and is able to kind of snatch some seconds from LilKirbs here.
Yeah, wouldn't see why not. He is definitely also going intentionally for that, like, leave one spiny light, the Stravi strat. That should just be a thing, I don't know. I think Strav did that first, and this strat doesn't really have a name. Like, people have been calling it everything, so I'm just gonna be calling it the Stravi. Because it's spiny, you know, it kind of makes it. I don't know, man. It doesn't really have a good name. I'm definitely taking submissions. If everybody has a good idea how to name that strat, where you leave a spiny alive intentionally to get a better camera pen, a faster one.
Yeah, I mean, your name is just as good as any that I could probably come up with there. So,
but we see usually the chat room also pretty creative with these kind of ideas. We see what they come up with. But right now, Curbs, not Curbs, but Curbs. too many runners in this community. Curbs able to get that first moon insurer pretty nice. Also got a pretty good exit, but Chaos is just gonna match that. So no big differences. And Snowclip might be the one difference we are looking at next. Oh, Curbs actually attempting. Don't like that position. But it actually still is going to work. It obviously works quite differently here. Ooh, there was also fast out-of-bounds movement as well. Very nice.
Chaos attempted it, but doesn't look like he's close enough to the wall to make that work. So he's going to have to back that up just by going down the hallway. No big deal there, but LilKirbs is actually going to be snatching that 1.5 seconds.
Kind of reverse, like the reverse order than I would have guessed. Chaos definitely. Curbs is also going to go for the spiny. The Stravi, I mean, obviously.
Going for the Stravi here.
Oof, he got the Stravi. Let's see if Chaos will be able to get that as well. To be honest, that's also kind of ruthless. We actually we are leaving Stravi alive just to like literally kick him off the stage. Well, we are saving time with it, so whatever.
It's all in the name of frames. Always in the name of frames. Kill the animals.
Pretty much, yeah. Gotta make an extra effort to kill this one with the cap throw, but it is faster. Well, interesting. Curbs definitely playing Snow just a little bit better so far. Pretty much getting everything. Looking pretty good for him, even getting the clip. Yeah, that clip actually is quite interesting. Usually for nut clip, a nice indicator to see if you get it or not is if you see like an aligned shadow of Mario in the wall. But since he was sideways there, that shadow didn't really appear, which made me think he might have missed it, but it's still working. It's obviously okay. Like, you don't definitely need to know if you got the clip or not. If you get it, you want a ground pound anyway, so you have time to react. It's not very precise out of bounds movement, so whatever works.
Yeah, the out-of-bounds movement, surprisingly simpler than it looks. Of course, you are hanging over a death plane, but there are plenty of opportunities in the regular game to fall into a death plane. Yeah, Lost comes to mind, for example, or any portion of Wooded, for example. So just because it's out of bounds doesn't really make it any more scary. As long as you know what you're doing, you can usually make it to the loading zone just fine.
Yeah, but Curbs Snow so far pretty much mistakeless. He's about to come up to Snowdram though, which is obviously which has the potential to get you a pretty big mistake in. Taking his timing a little bit as far as actually being on the right position is concerned, but camera like first person camera very quick, and he will get that clip. I cannot recall any mistakes in the split for him.
I'd be very surprised if he was not on gold pace or at least tying
that,
it.
Like that was just flawless pretty much for the Snow.
Incredible.
Oh no, Chaos is gonna miss Snowdram. I didn't even see him missing that. I mean, I did see him falling, obviously, but I didn't exactly see what caused him. I think he tried to delay his rainbow spin for a little bit too long. You definitely want to delay this as much as possible, but if you wait just a little bit too long, you won't get it. He might have also intentionally dropped it because he knew he was on a bad angle. Let's see here. Oh, bonking again. That's going to be massive. It's going to be a huge time loss. He's not even patient enough to wait until he hits the ground here. He definitely needs to get it right now to be able to still have a chance to come back from this. But this is every miss here right now is going to lose him points too. Potentially up to 2 points you're losing here on every single miss. Third attempt, and he will actually be able to get that. But definitely not going to be happy about that.
Yep, Chaos going to be probably very frustrated with that performance in Snow Kingdom. You hate to see it. Hopefully able to kind of keep it together as he enters Seaside here.
Curbs right now really on a hot streak. Every movement is looking great. So it's definitely going to be very hard to if he keeps playing like that, it's going to be insanely hard to climb that mountain that Curbs is currently kind of building. Already out of the pipe right now. About to go to this 2.5D moon.
This one, out of all the other kind of pseudo 2D areas in this game, is particularly cruel, mostly because there is a lot of actual 3D space within that cavern. It is very easy to be a little bit too far in or a little bit too far out, I suppose. So you do really have to kind of line yourself up within the center of that cavern to grab the moon optimally there.
Okay, Curbs. Oof, not sure about that one. Yeah, maybe that's actually something that you can do. I mean, it should be something that you can do. Kind of doing an intentional ground pound roll into a long jump to hit the moon instead of going for that dive. And I'm not sure, that might also be faster actually if you just if you do the long jump at the right time instead of diving into the moon. But he was not able to get the long jump in time, so he's losing the refresh there, losing quite a bit of time on that setup.
Yeah, did have to kind of back up with the gush in there. Not the hugest deal, but attempting the Rocket Flower refresh and missing does result in the Gushin, which does kind of make the whole sequence a little bit slower than not having attempted it at all.
Now, honestly, if you go for stuff like this, trying to optimize it this much with like ground pound roll long jumps into the moon, you might as well just try the 2-frame. I'm just saying, I'm still the biggest fighter for people to start adding that, but I mean, what can I do? It's obviously up to people. Chaos is going to just pick the dive as an option, which seems just as fast or even faster, and he's going to get the refresh.
Yeah, making those couple seconds up on LilKirbs. Definitely going to need to take all that he can get.
Solid C-set from Curbs. Obviously, that flower rocket refresh being the one mistake that sticks out. Chaos has been playing as well so far too. Probably a little bit better as far as C-set is concerned. But remembering how he was around like 15 seconds behind after Metro, and Curbs definitely at the better Snow, +2 misses on Snowdram, will definitely be more like a even minute lead right now for Curbs. I would be surprised if it is more than a minute, but should be around a minute. Maybe just a little bit less. We'll see. Curbs is going to be fading out here at 36 as he leaves Seaside. But we'll see. I think we have seen a sub 38 Seaside before as far as pace is concerned, but it was like a very, very crazy one we've seen. I'm not sure what Curbs PB currently has, but still doing very well. Chaos 1 fish bonk there. We'll lose him a little bit more time, but he's about to go to the globe as well.
And into Luncheon. Now we're entering LilKirbs territory here. Luncheon Kingdom being a strong suit. In fact, one of these league races, I believe, has yielded LilKirbs a world record in this particular split.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was always pretty much known to be one of the very best players there. As we said, immediately bonks, immediately losing any chance, actually 1 HP down to 1 HP. He's still going to try that. If he's going to miss that, he's actually going to die, which is not the end of the day, but he's losing quite a bit of time here. This is adding up quite a bit. Let's see if he can actually get it, because if he was the bonk again, he would actually take a death. He will do so. Not happy about this one, but looking back, Chaos was around 50, like 50, I think 52 seconds behind at the end of Seaside, so Curbs surely just lost like 10, 12 seconds to that. Already working in Chaos's favor.
Yeah, has to be in the ballpark of that somewhere. But on his way through now, finally past the scary Salt Pile Triple Moon into the Spirit Fight. Chaospringle just making his way into Luncheon Kingdom now. And if he's able to pull off a cleaner Salt Pile Triple here, then he will be making up quite a bit of time.
Yeah, don't call this commentator's curse. We were actually already saying, like, the mistake happened before we even said that Curbs is good at lunch. It doesn't count. Obviously
right.
makes the race more fun again, because that was a pretty big mistake. He was also obviously getting a damage refill on his first moon. Did I just robot? I think I might have just roboted. I think I'm back though.
I think you went okay. You might have cut out just a little bit, but
okay.
Things are well in the land of luncheon.
That's my land, dude.
Oh, dude, I would live here if I could.
Yeah, certainly not the biggest fan of this in runs. That's really scary. But it's quite fancy looking. I really like the aesthetics of luncheon. Probably aesthetically my favorite.
Certainly. Of course, living here would probably be a little bit tricky with all the molten Pepto-Bismol everywhere, but, you know, you learn to adapt.
That's what you're saying. I'm still pretty I'm pretty sure still that this is like cupcake frosting or something. This is all about food. You actually will never run out of food if you lived here.
It's true. The geometry of the land is literally made of it. You would never go hungry.
I've yet to see someone actually confirm to me that this is Pepto-Bismol. I'm not believing that. I'm gonna buy the official Prima guide, and it's gonna say it's cupcake frosting. I'm just sure.
Yeah, we need to get a confirmation. We need to see if Nintendo and Pepto-Bismol have made any contracts in the past, just to confirm that this is indeed what it is.
No one going for that new movement here after the subroom where kind of backflip up top to just roll across. Something that people have been thinking of adding.
You know, it's funny. We were actually watching some footage of some very, very, very old races.
Wait,
oh no!
Just got sniped.
He just got sniped. Oh my gosh! Making the recovery just fine though, and using the checkpoint flag very smartly to refill his health. What I was saying was that back in the day, like at the very, very early days of Super Mario Odyssey racing and like speedrunning, that was actually the way that people went, is they went up over the door and then across that kind of platform. But of course, the movement back then was very
that's the thing. I know. I also can recall that Tuval actually did say that he tested something like that in like November or something. But we were literally just too bad. Like rolling is obviously just faster. Oh, Chaos is also going to take damage here. Rolling is obviously just faster, but the way we set up the roll used to be worse. Now we can set up the roll quickly, and it's fastest to just backflip up and roll across that blue rock instead of going for the forward capture. Usually, I said that before. Recently, as far as new time saves is concerned, it's mainly been actually cutting out captures. Because every time we can skip a cutscene, you can save time. We've seen it in Bowser's, where you're potentially able to skip that one Pokio capture, and now here, where you can potentially skip that 4 capture. Not sure if I like this turn position. Should still work if he's clipping exactly like that, but actually maybe not. He still tries to make that work, and it might, but after the second attempt here, I'm not so sure anymore. He's still gonna try again. At this point, he should just reset up. Curbs is really wanting to make this work. Okay, dude, you gotta reset this up now. This luncheon has not been good at all for him.
Yeah, losing plenty of time to that setup there. Giving Chaos ample time to catch up. If his turnip clip is working out for him, then he will be making up some time here. It looks like we have a bit of a freeze going on Chaos's side. Impossible to tell where he is exactly.
First of all, his internet has got to work more than his turnip clip. We can confirm that he did previously have some internet issues, which also caused us to have this little delay at the very start. He definitely confirmed before the race even started that he is gonna be recording this locally, but we are definitely gonna be trying to bring this back to you as fast as possible. Right now, definitely syncing the gameplay. Chaos did not just wrong warp and pretty much made up all the time. He will have to restart potentially stream. Hopefully his internet comes back in time. He's definitely recording, so we will be able to get a final result. But for now, we should probably just cheer on Curbs to do well here because Chaos' stream is getting brought back to you right now as far as his internet is going to work. We don't know about that.
And doing well he is. Didn't have any problems after the turnip clip. Made it up the mountain just fine. In fact, got the nice little spin pound strategy to get the moon around the mountains. And then back up to the meat plateau. So very good finish in Luncheon Kingdom from Curbs here.
Right. Curbs is done with lunch now. He is definitely not happy about this one. I'm considering calling this like a 30 or more second time loss here, and I'm probably not off with that because the early mistake surely lost him more than 10. That turnip clip probably lost him close to 20. So cannot be happy about this one. I'm excited to see where Chaos is right now because with the events of this, the lead might be back to something like 25, even with those bigger snowdrum misses. But I'm very interested. Very interested. I hope he can bring this back before his run is over. Once again, this might be out of our power because Chaos has been struggling with internet issues before the race. I hope the internet gets back so we can give you the stream. We'll see what we can do. But for now, okay, I was about to say for now we can obviously look at Curbs, but Curbs is just entering Ruined, so we are struggling with content here. I think it's time again for a Trash Talk and Ruined section.
That's my favorite time, to be honest.
Oh, never mind. Actually, we do see Chaos fading out here, and the lead is pretty close. However, we are still going to be in Ruined, so it's still time for a Ruined Trash Talk segment.
Yep, Chaos's timer coming back just in time for us to basically go to Ruined again. Fantastic.
Now let's see. I should probably prepare some topics for this segment of the run. This definitely needs to become a thing. There's just not enough content here to commentate. Like, what are we going to commentate about?
I mean, I suppose we could always just go over what is happening, but that would only take about 1 of the 3 minutes up.
Now that's unprofessional, if I've ever heard it. I think a better idea would be, for example, like count the dragon's teeth or something.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
That actually sounds entertaining to me. Have you ever counted the dragon's teeth?
You know what? I haven't actually. I never even thought to.
I mean, but that's really the content that I would be looking for in this kingdom. Like, saying what's going on. Who does that? I mean, come on.
Yep, that's commentators. What do they even do out there?
Strongly disagree. So, actually, fun fact. Okay, never mind. I was about to say, I'm actually not sure. Does the dragon have 4 fingers or 5? Now that's the kind of stuff that's interesting, right? But I can't actually tell.
Oh, I missed it. We're gonna get a look here. Not getting a very good angle, but it looks like he has 4 per hand, unless you count the thumb. Unless the thumb doesn't count as a finger.
It does, but I think he has. I think he only has 3 fingers and 1 thumb, right?
Right.
Like, whatever,
yes.
Whatever. That's just 4. That's definitely some interesting content.
Absolutely, and just noting that the dragon does have 2 eyes, in fact.
What?
But have we ever seen the dragon's legs? Does the dragon have legs?
Wait, does he? I think he might not.
I don't think this is confirmed. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle. We're always seeing him kind of from this front and top-down angle. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen any dragon legs.
At least not from this guy. That's interesting because he's like kind of spawning in the fog there. Yeah, very interesting content here in Ruined. Definitely need to prepare some more interesting segments here for the Ruined Trash Talk segment. But we are out of here. Let's go.
Thankfully, all done with the dragon here. You know, I always thought that maybe we could talk about the food in America because that's something that I think we both kind of relate on, something that we experienced at GDQ together that, you know, is a little bit foreign to us. Some of the places that we went to actually were quite good. They kind of exceeded my expectations, in fact. One of those places being Chick-fil-A. Fantastic chicken sandwiches there.
Oh yeah, definitely not affiliated with them yet. Hit us up. Okay, but with that, Chaos is also out of Ruined. Also, another interesting fact here, if you want to experience the American fast food chains yourself, there's actually a great opportunity coming up shortly. It's called PACE 2019, and you guys can type in !event, !tickets to actually get your tickets for that event. Right now, they are online. You can register for the first live competitive speedrunning event hosted at Xanadu Games at Laurel Park. A very, very cool location. If you guys have watched any Super Smash Bros. Tournament recently, majors, actually Glitch 6 taking place there, insane space. We are going to have an amazing time, so make sure to check that out.
I cannot wait. I don't know about you, but this is definitely an exciting event to take part of, and the very first of its kind. We've seen a lot of speedrunning events, but a lot of them are very charity-based organizations focused on showcasing and focused on marathons, but in this situation, perhaps the very first competitive speedrunning event to take place.
So there are going to be some opportunities to showcase stuff there, but Chaos is actually going for that very tight dive there, something that he has actually been missing in his recent showings here, a strat that was called free by multiple members of the community, and he is able to get it this time, saving some time. And yeah, the lead really definitely shrunk. Something like a missed target acquired would actually make it possible for Chaos to come back from this, something that I wouldn't have expected at the end of Snow Kingdom, but Kirbs definitely struggling big time in Luncheon, the one kingdom that none would have really expected him to make big mistakes, but ended up happening. And Chaos is definitely going to try to play as best as he can, because if he was to make further mistakes, or if it would just keep going like this and both would play equally well, that would actually cause him to... Oh, Kirbs was trying to let the Pokio, the Pokio basically snipe the cannonball, trying to go for something fancy there, it looked like. Didn't get that to work, but Chaos definitely wants to avoid losing 3 in a row here.
Yeah, it's going to be on him to kind of make up the time, maybe relying on LilKirbs to make a couple of these little minor mistakes. This race has been a race that has kind of subverted our expectations. A lot of the things that we didn't expect to happen are indeed happening, and some of the things that we thought were a sure thing have kind of gone wrong. Chaospringle missing Snowdram twice in a row. LilKirbs having a luncheon that just, isn't his to lose most of the time, but is showing a little bit of shakiness here. That's, it's made for a very exciting race.
All right, so Kirbs is able to get the capture warp strat for that moon on the roof, and we are going to be having another race between Harriet first and Topper first. Kirbs obviously fighting with Harriet first. There's no doubt in my mind that Chaos is going to try to make Topper first work here. Not sure who's going to come out on top.
Yep, and LilKirbs, of course, approaching Harriet first because Harriet first is optimal. Chaospringle trailing behind just on the basis of knowledge that Topper first is not the strategy that you should be going for.
Chaos is nonetheless going to go for this. This is his signature strat, and even though it's obviously not his signature strat, he is still holding the current world record, so he's still fighting strong here for the Topper first gang. Kirbs actually had a really good Harriet fight. They're styling around her after some successful hits. Looks like Chaos's Topper will go just as fine. Very nicely done. Still has to do Harriet for his own. Kirbs has already started up this Topper fight, and this fight is definitely the shorter one of the two. Also going to be going for first person lineups here for these sets. Kirbs is done with both refights. I mean, the one refight and the one first encounter in this category at least.
Yep, there is another opportunity to see Harriet, but it is hidden within the inverted pyramid. Not really very optimal to go out of your way to do that in an 80% category. Just getting as many moves as you can and then leaving.
Even on top of the inverted pyramid rather than within. You do have, at this point in time, go through the pyramid to actually get to her. But yeah, potentially would be able to fight Harriet without going through the pyramid, but there's no infinite height glitch available to us that would cause us to do so. Not yet.
Now, interestingly enough, there has been something discovered recently that allows you to manipulate the height of Glidon flying around. However, Glidon does not appear in the Sand Kingdom until you've achieved World Peace, so unfortunately cannot use that to get up to the top of the pyramid.
Also, there's obviously the Oh, Curbs dropping very low there, going for that bird strategy. He will kind of back this up just nicely enough, but definitely having a little heart attack right there. Another infinite height glitch is actually using that wet nut that you can use to kind of infinitely jump. That's not available in sand. Actually, there's some people that go for these nut jumps all up top here to that final Bowser fight, skipping one capture for the minimum capture category, and crazy stuff right there. But right now we are going to be looking at the Mecha Brutal, and Curbs gets a very quick first hit in, hopefully being able to get the second one as well to prepare for the arguably scarier second phase where you gotta get that Harriet third and target acquired spirited.
And it is really going to come down to this for LilKirbs. Waiting through the invulnerable phase, showing off a little first-person swag.
That's his signature, the classic.
That is the signature in just about every boss fight he does, including Spirit and Luncheon. There's a couple of places, but it's going to come down to this.
Chaos is not getting the climb first try, but at the same time Curbs needs to set up here, stands on top of the line. He needs to get this dive just right, because if he misses it, he might actually lose his lead. He does get it. Right now, it's still up to Chaos to close out this mech, because as we've seen earlier, the one thing that Curbs has been struggled most with in this run, other than Luncheon, was arguably the Bowser fight. So that one is still on our hands. If Chaos is able to get target acquired here, there's still a slight chance for him to come back through that Bowser's fight in Moon.
Yeah, consistent problems with LilKirbs in these league races, in the Bowser fights, and missing a phase in the Moon sections specifically, they can be a lot more punishing. Chaos is going to be holding on,
nice,
and getting that target acquired.
That's the one thing that he definitely needed to keep holding onto a chance. Also, this lead right now that Curbs is holding onto is definitely not too massive. Chaos is going to be happy to potentially grab some bigger amount of points here through him doing just well enough to close the gap, even if he wasn't able to win. But it's not over. There's still a slight chance for him to win if anything happens to Curbs during his Bowser fight, maybe Moon skip. We've actually seen someone almost get Moon skip and then dive to the abyss, which arguably loses more time than missing something like a 2D skip, which, by the way, new information just leaked yesterday on Reddit. Apparently, getting to D skip is only you only have a 25% chance. It misses 75% of the time, and it only saves half a second. New information from Reddit/all, by the way.
You heard it on Reddit, so it must be true.
Very interesting post yesterday about someone small and actually losing a run into D skip, and very interesting comments. Can highly recommend that thread. Very comedic if you actually do have some knowledge about the run. Okay, this is it. Curbs stepping on the Moon surface, and the last kingdom for him to play through before he might be able to cause Chaos a third consecutive loss.
Yep, an unfortunate start to this league for Chaos so far. But anything can happen in the Moon Kingdom. Chaos can still claw his way back. It is a matter of LilKirbs coming up with some mistakes and Chaos playing flawlessly.
Now, arguably the phase that he did have issues with in Cloud was actually the first one. The first phase does change up here in Moon and is arguably easier and more lenient on timing depending on what strat you decide to do. So this might be what Curbs needs to gain his consistency on this fight back. But we see this Moon skip looking very nice, going for a side flip on top there, and he's going to be making his way over to that fight right now.
Chaospringle with some excellent vectors, clearing the platform by a mile, rolling through the Moon here, and he's going to be needing a flawless Moon cave skip setup in order to keep pace.
Bowser fight starting up for Curbs. Chaos about to set up on the first Moon skip. First Moon skip, definitely. Moon cave skip. Curbs will get that first phase to work this time. Definitely increasing his chances to close this out. And Chaos is also about to start this one up.
LilKirbs doing a little bit of ballet in between the phases, showing a little bit of swag. Now, in my opinion, that looked very, very close for LilKirbs there. It looked like he was just a touch too close to the hat, but did manage to pull it off just fine.
You can actually intentionally kind of have Bowser jump on one of these lower platforms. It's kind of visible. You can visibly see how these platforms at the edge of the arena are higher or a little bit lower. I really like having him be on a lower platform on the second phase because it makes it easier to grab the head. Your position is more lenient when you set up the backflip. And arguably the easiest phase now to come from curbs. You can damage boost here to pretty much guarantee a nice position for the head throw that you need to get. And he does get it, gets the heart as well. So no issues of dying here. Pretty much synced up punches right now, but Curbs is definitely holding onto his lead. At this point, it's pretty much escape only that could cause him to drop this race.
Yeah, looking at one of these very common situations here where they are one Bowser phase apart from one another, entering the escape sequence. But yes, it is LilKirbs' race to lose. And all it would take was a failed 2D skip or some sort of a miraculous death in the pillar room to bring this race back into Chaos's favor.
Already holding onto the edge of my seat. As we all know, 75% chance that Curbs is going to miss this jump here. It would actually be kind of a wonder if he was getting this. Literally 75% chance of missing that.
Yeah, we could be witnessing a miracle coming up here. Hopefully,
yeah,
LilKirbs is able to pull this off.
The worst thing is you actually only save half a second. It's actually a useless trick.
Yeah, it's really amazing that people even bother.
I don't get it. Yeah, unless you're going for a world record, there's no reason. Obviously, memes aside, once again, throwing back into those Reddit memes, Curbs is about to approach the section, obviously gets it. Very easy jump as long as you get the timings just right, saving you about 2 seconds more rather than half a second. So he will get that time save and pretty much destroying one of the last barriers that was between him and potentially getting the win here. He's still holding onto a solid lead. He might not get as many points from the additional point total, but he will obviously be happy about getting 40 from that win. However, there's still a pillar room to destroy, and hopefully going for that early pillar, hopefully getting it himself. Chaos's timer seems to be slightly off right there. We're obviously looking at 1 hour and 57 seconds rather than 57 seconds. It's also going to be getting the 2D skip.
Those fireballs looking just a little bit shaky, but he was able to make it work. So on his way through the pillar room, flying through the stage, just has a couple of fireballs to throw here. And then he will be done. Just got to make sure that he lands on that final platform, doesn't fall in, doesn't get invisiwalled in any sense. He'll be good to go.
Oh
no! And commentator's curse.
That's not true. That didn't just happen.
Okay, well, it's been great knowing you all. I think this is where I announce my retirement. It's been a great day, you guys, and I will see you all. No,
I was about to say, dude, I haven't even brought up the invisible wall in ages. And it happened.
That is tragic.
My heart is actually pounding right now. It's crazy. That's the one thing that you never expect to see anymore, because we have just not been bringing it up, but this is something that can happen. You can get an invisible wall there, and Curbs did not think about it. He didn't expect it, and it caused him to die. Chaos is going to win the race, and by quite a decent amount, even getting him. This is probably the worst way ever to win a race. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm completely done.
My jaw is on the floor. I do not know what to say or what to expect from something like that, but it happened. You know, this is how these leagues go. This is how things turn out. LilKirbs getting the short end of the stick in a situation like this. You hate to see it, but here we are. Chaos coming away with the victory here. He didn't stop his timer. I actually didn't see what the final time was. I was still literally crying over my commentator's curse on LilKirbs' side here.
I can't. I'm done. I'm done for the day. I'm done for the day. Hey Chaos, did you get
won?
Yep.
Chaos, you have won the race.
Oh my god, let's go!
Curbs literally got invisible walled and fell on the last jump of the game.
Yeah, that happens because you either swipe or.
No, I mean I know why that happens, but this is something I haven't been bringing up for like ages, and
I cannot believe that run was so. That run was pretty. I was really sad after Snowjam.
Wait, what time did you get, by the way? Because
I don't know. Simply told me that my thing was crossed out, and as he told me that, I forgot to split. So Hi, Curbs.
You don't understand how hard I laughed right there.
My thing was crossed out, and as he told me
No,
that,
I cried. I
forgot
did the
to
opposite. I cried.
Yeah, that I was actually
Hi,
doing
Curbs.
really good pillars, and then I kind of got like invisible walled, I think. And
Well,
I
I
just
didn't.
fell through
Yeah.
that.
Don't,
No, I cried. I
So
did the
let me just
opposite.
like
I
explain what
cried.
happened, because
Yeah.
we were talking about we were basically about to like call this race a day and like say
Yeah,
wow, Chaos
so-
was 3 times in a row. So
and
then
then
Dangerous
Dangerous
like brought up what happened, pretty much
because
also the one thing
that
we were talking about. We
Wait,
were
I was
basically
ahead.
about to like call
Yeah,
this
you were
race.
way ahead,
Are you
dude.
serious?
My run was. I missed Snowdram like twice, I think.
I
3 times.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to give some closing thoughts. Sadly, I'm not able to give you guys the point rundown here because Chaos. I missed his final time there. Our stat team will obviously collect these values and give you guys a breakdown on these points. This is. I mean, I don't know what to say. This ending kind of hurts.
Yeah.
I did not expect this. I thought it was
Nor
over.
did I. I tried to go faster because I thought I was gonna get a really good segment, but then yeah.
Did you at least get a snow goal? That snow looked pretty good.
Yeah, I got like a 36 there.
Jeez, that used to be BTT at some point, so that's pretty crazy.
I got like a 540. It was hot. It was hot.
Okay.
Or a 640.
I think all we can really do is call this a day because I don't know what to say anymore. Thank you guys for watching, everybody. This was an interesting race to say the least. Chaos getting his first win miraculously, and we'll see these guys back on track. Obviously, still GG's to come. So you guys are going to be able to see a point total soon. Make sure to check !leagues and !standings to check that. And we are going to be going into a short intermission, and then we are going to be having Mario Kart Double Dash, Average Stray versus Phoenix. Make sure to catch that 7:30 p.m. And thank you guys for watching.